Hello, this is a summary of a publication from the HeartMath Institute, which I personally have found quite myth-busting scientifically and also very useful to add to my own personal practices every day. I'm going to share a document now. So here is a PowerPoint presentation on this document, The Science of the Heart, produced by the HeartMath Institute. And I will put these links on the blurb below the video. So for the past 50 years, this institute has been doing research on the heart, and all that research is in the document. It's 100 pages, and I think there's 3 pages of references to publications, scientific journals, peer-reviewed articles, and so on. What follows is a summary and also details of my personal practice, very simple practice that's arisen from it, in case that's useful. So we often think of the heart as a pump, and indeed it is a pump. Medical training up to now has still presented the heart as just a pump, a vital pump, delivering oxygenized blood around the body, and that's a truism. However, research that's more recent shows that it's more than that. And there are slides that follow that talk about the different roles of the heart. So at the moment, let's just stay with this and say that symbolically, the heart has been representative of love, compassion, and joy. We see that symbol of the heart everywhere. We know what it means. The joy that we feel in the heart is tangible. Positive feelings, we have said, and throughout eons connected with the heart. So science is backing that up, hormonally, neurologically, and electrically. Positive emotions, and throughout this presentation, that's referred to as coherence, affect the strength and variability of the heartbeat, and the heart in turn can deliver messages of coherence, so good feelings, throughout the body and perhaps further too. So why the heart beats is a mystery. However, what we do know is that on every beat, a wave of electricity travels to all corners of the body, opening the vessels in preparation for blood flow. So we just have a pause for a visualization of that for a moment. That electricity bypassing the brain, it doesn't need to go to the brain, it just goes directly to the smallest capillary around our organs, our fingertips, our feet, opening for blood. So the heart therefore delivers nutrients, hormones, and neurotransmitters directly to all parts of the body at great speed. So the heart's intelligence is such that it delivers exactly what is needed and in the right amount. So imagine the speed of that and the adaptability as well. Delivering exactly what's needed to all corners of the body. And just to emphasize, it doesn't need information from the brain. If it had to do that, then it would slow everything down. And as we see, as an endocrine organ, emitting chemical messages, and as part of the nervous system, the heart is both an information source and an organ of intelligence. And it's useful to clock that there is more information sent from the heart to the brain than the other way around. So the heart has its own neural network, as we've said, a network of nerves, and is intimately connected with our nervous system, both the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. So if you like, it knows what's going on in every part of the body and can influence that with speed and efficiency, as we've seen in the previous slide. Just to overemphasize, there are more messages sent to the brain that are sent from the brain to the heart. And what we can say also is there are in general, more outward moving nerve pathways in the heart than are coming into it. So the information is going to the organs and parts of the body more than it's being, more than the other way around, that the body's informing the heart. So we used to think of the brain as the master of the nervous system. However, the heart is as, if not more important, for the speed and accuracy with which it responds and allows us to adapt to each situation. So talking about chemical messages then, the heart was reclassified as an endocrine organ in 1983. It produces hormones and neurotransmitters, which include oxytocin, dopamine, and atrial natriuretic factor, ANF. And ANF is sometimes known as the balance hormone. Keeps everything in homeostasis, the best possible balance. So the above hormones induce, for example, loving feelings. When we have a baby, it induces in parents, oxytocin does, the need to care for that infant. It induces feelings of joy in life. And dopamine as well is responsible for producing endorphins, for example, when we exercise. And also the tenderness of the heart is tangible to us. So the heart emits hormones, and that makes us feel good towards ourselves and others, these hormones. And these chemical messages are encoded in all corners of the body where the blood is. So they're taken there directly by the blood, these chemical messages. Research from the HeartMath Institute is showing that if we encode positive emotions into the heart area, and I'll talk about that more in future slides, then the heartbeat changes, as does the space between each heartbeat, which is called heartbeat variability. So we become not only calmer, but also we become more adaptable. The heart is able to adapt to emotions and different situations as measured by heartbeat variability. So changes in heartbeat and heartbeat variability signal a release of hormones and neurotransmitters related to this feeling good directly around the body, bypassing the brain and mind. And in the next slide, I'm going to suggest that it might be a good choice to sometimes bypass the mind, although we need all of our resources. So bypassing the brain is a wonderful thing, obviously, but as Einstein said, it's difficult to solve a problem using the tool that created it sometimes. And there's the actual quote. So it's hard sometimes to think our way out of anxiety, although full respect for cognitive behavioral therapists who kind of do that. But usually, because it's a thought itself that's exacerbating or even creating a state of anxiety, it's good to have somewhere else to go to calm ourselves down. Also, we have a negative bias. Humans have 10 negative thoughts to every one positive thought. The mind is also on a constant mission to alert us to possible problems and past mistakes. And that's a survival mechanism. We have survived because we are alert and we learn quickly. We learn quickly from past experiences, and we're alert, therefore, to times when we might get tripped up survival-wise in the future. But the mind and the brain is wired to keep us alert and looking for problems, if you like. So studies resulting from mindfulness, which is really quite mainstream now, show that even pleasant experiences come with a narrative that can tip the balance to the negative. So the way that that goes is if we have a positive experience, the mind is looking for how to recreate it almost immediately. We like it. It feels good. So the mind goes into, well, how can I recreate that? What was the run up to it? All sorts of, if you watch your mind working, it's a wonderful thing. It just tries to um, add to our knowledge all the time. But what can happen is we miss the actual wonderful experience because our mind is so busy. So if we drop down into the heart area, or at least this is my experience, then it can be a lot longer. We can experience the joy much more deeply. Happiness in the heart. So here's some of the practices that are recommended by the HeartMath Institute, and I've taken on board. They're very simple and easy to do. So when we focus on a joyful experience or recall a time when we were calm, while focusing on the heart area, we're less likely to be tripped up by the mind's warning messages and our negative bias. This is suggesting that there could be one of a number of choices. There's no way that I'm giving prescriptive advice. It's just a choice. In other words, calming the heart with beautiful images might be a quicker way, or at least a technique to have in one's self-care toolbox, than thinking our way out of something. We may bypass the mind's accompanying narrative. So I just suggest that you try that for yourself, dropping down into the heart, remembering a pleasant experience, and just seeing what happens and whether that's useful for you. So the past two slides have suggested that when we're in touch with our hearts, which is another way of saying coherence, so we're in touch with all those beautiful hormones, with the information center, with the intuition and the intelligence of the heart, then we're better to be with. We're more emotionally intelligent. And again, this is backed by science. So when scientists wired up an ECG, an electrocardiogram, a heart monitor to one person, to an EEG, which is a brain monitor, in another person, the person with the ECG could affect the other person without touch or speech. So by thinking of a joyful experience, they caused areas in the other person's brain related to pleasure to light up. So those experiments were the first inkling that we affect. I mean, that was some time ago, those experiments were done, that we affect other people just by how we are. So just a word finally to say some more practices that have come out of this, and also flag up that the heart's magnetic field is the largest magnetic field in the body, radiating several feet in all directions. So when you measure it, it comes out the back and to the sides as well. So it surrounds us completely. And a research project by McPhee in 1963 about the magnetic field of the heart suggests that because it's a field, if we put that in the science of physics, we can say that it extends indefinitely into space. Because it's a field, there's no end to it in physics terms, other than those set by the limits of our measuring equipment. So this research project said it gets weaker with distance, but there's no point at which we can actually say that it ends. So since reading this in particular, I have several practices which I find useful and entertaining. So when I see something lovely, like a bird or a flower, I'm in the habit anyway of cultivating joy by stopping for moments longer than I might do. But I drop that down into the heart. So there's like a library of joyful and happy experiences in my heart to draw on. So I give a gift to my own heart. And then when I'm with someone and perhaps there's difficulty or discomfort, I drop down into that library maybe briefly and breathe. And often it's at least calming. And sometimes it changes the moment radically. Um, anyway, again, I invite you to experiment with that. And my favorite is being somewhere like the London Underground tube and dropping down into my heart and just seeing what happens when I look at people. Um, Being in the heart space when you're in a crowd is for me, it's changes things. Eye contact becomes warmer. Often there are automatic smiles. And once again, I encourage you to try that for yourself. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to post this on YouTube. And again, you'll see the links in the blurb below the video. Thank you.